The running back position is huge for fantasy football. It could really make or break your season, whether or not you're paying up for the top running backs or you're trying to money ball it with some sort of zero RB strategy. The same thing remains, and it has been for decades. Everybody wants running backs, and some of these running backs get scrutinized, like we've seen with Kyren Williams over the years, the late round draft pick who has become an NFL superstar. Today we're going to talk about whether or not you need him for fantasy football. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now, because we're talking about these players every day. We're doing these deep dives. We're doing rankings, which is new on the channel. We're also going to help you set your lineups. We're going to help you find waiver wire gems, plus much, much more. Click that button. Stop missing out. But Kyren Williams got that bag on August 5th. And things have changed for him in fantasy football. And now he's more stable for fantasy football aficionados, as a lot of people have been speculating good and bad for him throughout the offseason, like every offseason. We'll get into that later. But Kyren Williams caught that bag, got that contract extension. Good for him. Last year had a good season like the year prior and is trending well for fantasy football here in 2025. But people forget, man, we're going back to Notre Dame, and he was a good prospect then. Got work in the passing game, got 42 balls his final year, 35 the year prior, over 1,000 yards each year, double-digit touchdowns, yards after contact per attempt, 3.49 on his career, yak per reception, 9, pushing double digits, so we can get yards in space. All those things we're seeing right now in the NFL, but it's progressing. But you want to go to those bottom layers. But we're looking at the physical specs here. And he ran a 4.65 40-yard dash. I called that out. I do live reactions at the combine. I said he failed the combine, and that affected his draft stock. He got drafted in the 5th round, and that was the main premise. Like, he was a running back that was looking like he was going to be a day 2 prospect that was going to get higher draft capital. That impacted that. Also impacted how people thought about him on fantasy football. A lot of people talk down on him throughout the years, and we're doing his You Need video first because he built the channel with the You Need videos. He was the one blowing up. He's the one who went off the next season. But again, 5th round pick, blossomed to superstar. You love to see it. That first season, that 2022 season of production, that rookie year, going into the year, there was rumblings. Adam Schefter dropped a tweet saying, hey, Sean McVay's looking to give Kyren Williams a lot of workload. The injury happens. We're stashing. We're holding on tight. I'm doing video after video after video. I'm looking dumb doing all these videos in 2022 saying, hey, you got to stash this running back. He's free. Put him on your IR. Put him on the back of your roster. See what happens. The worst thing that happens is you burn your last roster spot. That's not helping you anyways. Then next year is the glow up in 2023. And then we produce. Then in 2024, we put the stamp on things. 15.8 points per game on his career. 31.6 on the high end last year. 38.4 the high end on 2023. Rarely hitting RB3 status. Steady, consistent production. And getting steady, consistent workload. Some games over 30 opportunities. We had 3 of them last year. 22.2 opportunities per game. And nothing under 15, which makes him very safe for fantasy football. And what you're looking at is the snaps per game. 55.9 snaps per game over the last 2 years. That's a lot of workload. That's a lot for a running back. And maybe that will reduce to a little bit to keep him going longer. But he earned that money. He definitely earned that money. He was getting a lot of work. And you're looking at the snap share, number 1 among running backs last year. Opportunity share, 2nd among running backs last year. True run plays per game, 17, but he was out there on almost all of them as he's getting 19.8 carries a game on 40 targets. Not much work in the passing game, but still getting a lot of work that it doesn't matter. And you're looking at how much work he gets in pass blocking, just killing all the other running backs. This is why he never leaves the field. This is why he's a safe running back. Sure, all this work affects his efficiency, but that's going to happen when you're getting all the work because those blown up run plays by the offensive line, you're going to catch some of that. You see the efficiency dichotomies in some of the metrics, but you're also out there on all the snaps. You're also out there pass blocking on all the pass blocking reps. You are the team. Kyren Williams and the wide receivers Puka Nacua and soon to be Devontae Adams, that is the blood of this team, with Matthew Stafford being the heartbeat. Kyren Williams is out there like almost 50 more pass blocking snaps than the second running back on the list per PFF. He's getting a lot of work when you're looking at that. So you look at the backup running backs. They drafted Jarquez Hunter in the 4th round, Blake Corum the year prior in the 3rd round. All last year I was saying stash Blake Corum, stash Blake Corum. And I had to do more videos than I wanted last year on Blake Corum because last year was a weak running back class. There weren't many rookie running backs to talk about. You had like 3 to 5 of them to talk about as stashes. This year we got 20, so we're going to add some variety. Jarquez Hunter is another running back. And these running backs have a theme from Kyren Williams to Blake Corum to Jarquez Hunter. They're gritty, workhorse, lunch pail running backs with good vision that execute the play. Blake Corum, Jarquez Hunter are both looking good in training camp. They're both finding the holes. Corum had a touchdown last weekend. They're both looking solid when you're looking at what they're doing in practice. But I believe it's still going to remain the same. Kyren Williams is going to be the guy getting the touches until something happens. But they got a good stable of running backs behind them because that's what McVay's always been wanting, is to have good running backs behind him. So when he does go down, they don't have to worry about it like in 2023. You're looking at the price tag of Kyren Williams. He's getting drafted in the 3rd round. And home league drafts may be a little bit higher due to the home league running back push, and that's okay. You got to look at that value. But also, he's a tremendous value because a lot of leagues, RB12, RB13 range-ish ADP. Home league drafts push down rookies a little bit, so I bumped them up a spot or two. But round 3 draft capital on Underdog Fantasy. But when you think about this, of all the running backs getting that much workload, he's a tremendous discount. And now you're in an area where the wide receivers are fanning out. They're tearing down too. He's a tremendous value. He's a great value. And we're going to talk about how that value has changed since the signing here in a few minutes. But you look at Jarquez Hunter and Blake Corum, they're not getting drafted. They're not getting drafted. So if you're worried about the touches and you're worried about him getting hurt due to that, the handcuffs are free. You can get him off the waiver wire whenever you want. Like if you're 2 or 3 weeks into the season, he's getting all the workload and you're scared, you can pick one up. Underdog ADP is saying Jarquez Hunter's getting betted on the most. And I think it's going to be a coin flip between the 2 running backs. I think McVay's going to be very cryptic between the 2 running backs in season. Hunter will probably cost the most off the waiver wire. Blake Corum's going to be a little bit cheaper. There's sour taste among fantasy gamers from last year. But both of them are very sound running backs. They will both get their own video somewhere down the line. But looking at the changes in ADP since the signing, and drafters are more confident now in Kyren Williams. He's went up a little bit. He's so high that you can't go up too high or too much due to that. But you're seeing both Blake Corum and Jarquez Hunter see a dip, and they're dropping out of drafts. They were getting drafted in the final rounds. The last 2 rounds, you saw their names. Hunter was going ahead of Blake Corum. As of like May-ish, they were, and there was a little change after the draft. But you're looking at this, and now you're seeing the ADP spread between the running backs. So if you are worried about the Kyren Williams workload, you can get one. You can get one, which makes Kyren Williams even more safer because that ADP split, that split in your draft is nice. You can get the handcuff. But what you need to know about that is this year's running back class is so deep at the running back position, especially in the double-digit rounds in fantasy, that you may forego this and just catch your flavor because you're going to be seeing a lot of good values this year in your drafts. But off the waiver wire, if you're 3 weeks into the season and you're seeing him leading the league in snaps again at running back, you're starting to get nervous. Pick up the one that's getting the most snaps after him. Do that. Get him for free. Stash him. Maybe that's your route. There's multiple ways to skin a cat in fantasy football. There's a million strategies to implement. They all work. They all work to some degree until they don't. But you're looking at Blake Corum, Jarquez Hunter. They're getting cheaper. Why do you need him in fantasy football? He's the RB1 for the Rams. He's the top running back. He's the top running back when it comes to workload. Workload equates to fantasy production. We did see a little drop off in efficiency metrics last year, but he was also getting so much work that was going to water down a bit, because when the offensive line gets blown up, he's the one that's going to be back there all the time, absorbing that. That's going to affect that. This offense moves the football. Stafford sounds like he's going to be back and healthy. That's something to worry about, I guess, for gamers. But it sounds like he's going to be back moving the chains. They're just resting him up. Could be wrong, but that's what it sounds like. He's safe. He's safe. If they reduce his workload with these running backs, it ain't going to be by much. McVay always kind of cryptically talks about it, but does the opposite and actually gives them more. That's what you need to know about Kyren Williams, because we talk about this pretty much every week throughout the season, because the workload's so grand, but you're also looking at the opportunity costs. It really depends on your home league drafts and how much he shoots up the board there due to him being a running back and that running back FOMO and what else is on the board, because he's so high up there on the board. If he's going in that underdog range, it's hard to go against him. It's hard to go against him. But if he shoots up a bit where there's opportunity costs with wide receivers, really depends on the start of your build and how you're feeling at running back and wide receiver, you may switch it up, and that's okay. He's a high-priced running back prospect. Running back prospects can go down any given Sunday due to the touches. The last couple years, though, the injury rate at the running back position has reduced. But the rolling average over the last 5 to 10 years is much higher. And if it reverts back to average, it's going to feel like an Armageddon compared to the last 2 years. And we could see some starters hit that. And we also got some of those veteran running backs that did not get injured the last couple years. A little bit older, a little bit more touches, a little bit more confident. You never know what's going to happen when it comes to that. And that's just looking at the rates. That's not a prediction. But the average over the last 5 years to 10 years has been higher over the last 2 years. So it could revert back, or it could be on a moving down trend that we're paying attention to. But Kyren Williams, the opportunity cost is pretty grand because of what's there on the board. But where he's at on Underdog Fantasy ADP is relatively cheap for the workload you're getting for a running back. And he's going to be getting a lot of touches. The one thing you chase on running backs is workload. Bad running backs, you could suck. You could be one of the worst running backs in the league. But if you're getting starter touches, you'll still be good in fantasy once every 4 games. So a running back like Kyren, who's in a good offense, who's proven, is getting this workload, getting drafted where he's at, even in that RB 10 to 13 range that you're seeing here on Underdog. I bumped that up a bit because I could see that going up a little bit in drafts. That's great. That's great. That's a value. That's a value. He could be your RB2, and you could still be studly at wide receiver. That's one thing you can think about. He could be your RB2. You could probably go one of the stud wide receivers in the top part of the draft if you're drafting early, picks 1 through 4 or something like that, and maybe him and another running back comes back at you, and now you're built and you're anchored down with 2 good running backs, a good wide receiver, or you go running back, wide receiver, running back. Well, I just said that, but you get what I'm saying. He can help you anchor down your team at running back. Now you can forget about the position for a couple rounds, nail down wide receiver, and next thing you know, we got the area of the draft where there's rookie running backs. You got R.J. Harvey. You got Trevion Henderson. You also got Caleb Johnson. And they're going to have some time to ramp up. And some of them may not hit this season. Maybe it's next year. Maybe it's like week 12. But absorbing 2 good running backs like this, like your stud in the first round, then a Kyren Williams, allows you to absorb that rookie ramp up. So there's also strategy on top of the Kyren Williams strategy that you can implement. And then the strategy after that is that you can pick up some veterans in the double-digit rounds to get you so-so production just in case one of your top running backs go down. There's a lot to look at this year. Strategies are very deep in drafts this year. And when you look at a player like this, it can also alter the course of how you do things down the road. And that's something that needs talked about. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.